All right, guys, I think we're live. Well, everyone, welcome to Jurassi's very first attempt at a live stream. We're on StreamYard, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. This is for Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim, but it's an Ask Me Anything with yours truly, Kevin Kim. So I hope a lot of people are going to join us, and feel free to ask me any question they like. So yeah, I'm here for you. Give a little bit of information to some of our newer participants. First of all, Jurasi LLP, we're a law firm at first, and we were designed to service a private lending business. And we are the nation's largest law firm dedicated to servicing a private lending business. So we have three legal teams: our corporate and securities team that's run by yours truly, our banking and finance team that's managed by Melissa Marrella, and litigation and bankruptcy that's managed by the infamous Anthony Jurasi. Now, we also have a very, very robust offering when it comes to serving the market beyond just our legal services, and namely that comes through our conference line. So for those of you who do not know about our conference line, upcoming conference coming to you in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Cosmopolitan Hotel on August 18th to the 20th, called Captivate. It is our best conference, and it's going to be amazing. This conference is designed to service private lending industry in one particular context, meaning that it's focused on capital. So we're going to have all of your favorite loan buyers, aggregators, Wall Street investors, LPs, high net worth investors, but also the industry at large. So please join us there. If you want to learn more, check us out at jurassicon.com. And if you're new to our content, please like, subscribe, leave us a comment, because we really want you to get all of our great content. We're on YouTube. We're also very, very, very active on LinkedIn. So please make sure to join us there. And I'm going to just open it up. Hopefully we'll get some questions in, and I will answer them. So anyone? No comments so far. Well, one question we got was, tell us about your story with Jurasi, background, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of an interesting one, because I joined this firm back in, I think, 13 or 14. Been here now 7 or 8 years. I found a job ad online somewhere, and I was I had my own little law firm running it out of my apartment, and they needed contract work, and so I applied and started doing some contract work, and that was great. And I really enjoyed who I was working with, and the firm's kind of client base, and the work they were doing. Started doing more of it, went full time, and then the partner I was working for, some of you may remember, his name is Tony Patel. He retired, and Anthony Jurasi gave me an opportunity, and it was kind of the beginning of my path here at Jurasi, running the corporate and securities team, and we've grown since then, and we've been out there much more actively. But yeah, it all started back with, I think it was on Craigslist, actually, an ad back then in 2013 or 14. Can't remember now. It's all a blur. But yeah, it was really attractive because I came from a banking background and a corporate background, and so it's perfect for me as a attorney who is very interested in finance and loans and banking. And so when I joined, it also meshed very well with kind of my area of concentration in law school, which was securities law and investments and stuff like that. And so it really jived well with kind of how my brain operates. And here we are today. I got a lot of great opportunities thanks to Anthony, and we got to get out there and go to the conferences and get to become good friends with our clients and our contacts. And it's really been a fun ride so far. Another good question. What's the best thing that happened to you since you joined Jurasi? Well, the best thing probably, one of the best things that's probably happened to me while I was here was kind of becoming a very, very known expert at what I do. It's not really a thing, I guess you can say, in a particular event, but a couple of years ago, I've always taught this class for the American Association of Private Lenders called the Certified Fund Manager class, and it's now online and all that great stuff, and we were able to really reach a lot of people through that, and becoming known as the expert at fund formation when it comes to mortgage funds in the private lending space. A very hard thing to do, and also something I was really striving for over the past 10ish years. And so it was really one of the best things to get acknowledged for that from our various clients and get those kind of referrals. But also, the really, really amazing thing that's happened to me while I was here is I've had 2 kids while I'm here. So I got married while working for Jurasi. I had 2 beautiful daughters while I've been working here at Jurasi. And it's interesting to see, like, my life kind of, I became an adult here, and it's now I'm a full-fledged grown-up sometimes. So another question we got here, it's what's one thing you now know that you wish you knew when you were 20? So when I was 20, I was an idiot. And I still think I can be an idiot once in a while. I think I've gotten a little wiser over the years, but when I was 20, I was pretty stupid. And if I had known back then about not just saving money, but also investing wisely back then, and understanding how opportunities, when opportunities present themselves, really not to overthink, would be something that I wish I had known then, because I'd probably be a lot better off today financially. But when you're 20 years old, you're really trying to figure out who you are as a person. You're still in college. I was still in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And it's funny because I always talk about my friends, like I've had a lot of interesting investment opportunities over my youth, because I was at Berkeley when I was 20 years old. I was there during the formation of Google, and it was funny stories. I had an opportunity to invest very early on in Google, and I passed because my family had gotten burned during the .com boom, a bubble burst, and we're like, yeah, what's that thing over there? But one anecdotal story about that. But yeah, one of those kind of things. Like I look back on it, like I really should have evaluated the opportunity instead of just writing it off. So investment knowledge and investment stuff like that is something I wish I had known at a younger age. Which I had learned about as well. We don't learn that in college and high school anymore about just general investing, and how to, how money works. And so it took until my mid-20s to really understand how money works and how the world works when it comes to finance and cash flowing and that kind of stuff, and saving your money and debt and all that stuff. I wish I learned it a lot earlier. And now that I work in the finance world and the debt world, it's amazing how robust this place is, and how robust this marketplace is, and how it can be used to really grow amazing businesses and also create immense investment opportunity. And I wish I had known that back then, because it's not something that you really think about or learn about growing up. So we got an industry related question. So one question we've gotten is, do you have any insider tips for someone breaking into the industry? And this is the private lending industry, I assume. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of clients who've done incredibly well over the years, and they all got to start somewhere, right? And so what's really interesting is there are all types of stories when someone starts. All types of backgrounds. You've got guys who come from the investment world, like former investment bankers. You've got guys who were building houses and flipping houses that switch over to hard money or private money. You've got guys who work at other shops and want to go out and do their own thing. And the one thing that rings true is really, really making sure that you think through your business plan. You make sure that you're not spending too much time in the weeds on things that don't matter as much to the success of the business as well. And that's kind of a balancing act, because overthinking can cause a lot of delays and hurdles for you. But really thinking about, like, what is my highest and best use? And I in one of my classes, I kind of give an anecdotal story is that there have been clients that I've worked with who really need to be focusing on, the deal flow, origination, and raising capital. And they're just obsessed with their spreadsheets or their reports, and they spend way too much time in those types of things. And so thinking about how to maximize efficiency is also something that I would tell you to really think about early on. You can really bootstrap a private lending business. You don't really have to have a massive team to do it. Other inside tips, the interesting part about today's marketplace is very different than what it was when I started in the space, and it's continuing to evolve. But networking is going to be probably one of the biggest inside tips. You'd be surprised at how robust people's Rolodexes are and how willing they are to help you. And so making friends and really understanding those relationships as being incredibly important to grow the business is also something that's instrumental that a lot of people overlook, and not just other lenders or investors or Wall Street investors or loan buyers, but also vendors, also attorneys like myself. We know a lot of people. And so it's part of that, but getting out there and talking to your future colleagues and learning about, how they grew the business. And that's kind of the reason why we kind of started the podcast, was give a little bit inside look on that, because there's not as much opportunity to talk about, how a lot of these operators grew their businesses and things that they went through over the years, and how they focus on their certain things and stuff like that. And so it's been a useful tool, I feel like, for some people. I enjoy it because I didn't know these things either. But yeah, those things are kind of overlooked, that everyone's focused on, like, I gotta get deals done, I gotta get the flow in and that kind of stuff. And the money will come if you're passionate and work hard. But those things are oftentimes kind of, I would say, like, distractions or waste of time. Avoid those if you can. Focus on your highest and best use, and really thinking about, how can you find help in the space through a robust network. And that the nice part is that there's a lot of opportunities to do that. We have our own conferences, but there are plenty of trade associations, and there are also a lot of great other events to go to and local meetups. So definitely do that. And your colleagues are a very, very robust resource, and all you have to do is ask. I found that people are very generous with their time and generous with their information, but you have to ask. And so definitely another tip for you there. So this is a question from one of our inside people here at Jurasi. A lot of you know her, Danny. Tell us your philosophy on marketing. I don't really have I'm not a major I'm not a marketing major. I'm not someone who knows this, the science or skills behind it. But I can tell you my philosophy on it is that if you're not marketing, it basically is this: if no one knows who you are, you can be the best in the world, something, and no one knows who you are, it doesn't matter. Right. And, when we really took our marketing seriously a few years ago, I think that's more than a few years, about 6-7 years ago, we really started to understood the idea of the microphone. Right. And so, it's about making sure that your expertise is published and known throughout the sphere that you want to influence and play in. And that oftentimes requires a lot of extra energy and resources. But if nobody knows how awesome you are, it doesn't matter. And so that's kind of the thought process behind how we market ourselves as a law firm. We really want to make sure that we flex our expertise. We do a lot of content marketing, as you all know. You get a lot of our great emails. But we also make sure we do a lot of this kind of stuff. And so the reason why we do this kind of stuff is we want you to understand not just what we're good at, but also who we are as human beings and our perspectives beyond just our legal expertise. Because while we're lawyers, we also specialize in an industry that requires a lot of business knowledge. And so that's kind of the add-on layer. I really believe in the power of social media to help that agenda get across. The beautiful part of today's, I guess, world is that you've got so many tools at your fingertips. I did an interview for the podcast a few months ago at our conference in Newport, and one of our clients, he's using TikTok to really get the word out. And it's smart. You think about, who the next generation of borrowers are going to be, the next generation of investors are going to be. They're probably on TikTok, right? And so understanding the power of social media is also something that I think that is oftentimes overlooked. I like to think that we here at Jurassic have a very strong social media game, thanks to our great team here. Shout out to Casey Stevens, who's also the brainchild behind this live stream. She made it happen for you guys. So hope you guys are enjoying it. I was very nervous for this. But yeah, marketing is so important. And it's not just, expertise and getting the word out there, but also physical presence. One of the things that, especially in private lending, it's a very small industry, right? Comparatively speaking, right? If you look at, for example, the mortgage industry at large, it's a very tight knit industry. A lot of us know each other and known us for years. To that extent, you really have to make sure you continue to network and continue to meet your colleagues and friends in this space, not only just to know what's going on, but also to make sure that, hey, you're still out there and thriving and doing great business. And last year with COVID, that really hurt us, I think, and everyone kind of felt down about it. But now we're out. Now we're back. Let's see here. What else we got here? So, a good question here. This is an industry question. What do you think the second half of 2021 has in store for the non-conventional lending space? So non-conventional lending is kind of a term of art that we kind of created here, and it's a catch-all because the word hard money or private money or that kind of stuff doesn't really kind of encapsulate what we're trying to describe. And so I really think that the rest of the year, for residential, I think I'm very very excited for what we're going to see. It's very frothy right now. I think we were a little bit worried about inflation having created some challenges because construction loans were really booming. New construction and heavy rehab was very popular, but the concerns associated with lumber price and labor cost were really, really kind of starting to make people worried, starting to kind of trickle down a little bit. So I think market indicators and consumer price index and all that kind of stuff is kind of showing that it's kind of loosening up a little bit. It's good. We still have a massive inventory problem on the residential side, and that needs to be helped by our industry. I think our industry is instrumental in creating new inventory for new home buyers out there. And keep it up, guys. And I think we're starting to come into our own as an industry as a whole. But yeah, I think things are going to continue to ramp up for the rest of the year. We know that definitely capital is everywhere. Capital is abound of all types. Investors, both high net worth investors and Wall Street investors, love our space, love the returns, love the fact that it's risk adjusted, love the fact that it's tied to real estate. And so a lot of that is working in our favor for our lenders. There seems to be a pretty healthy volume of loan requests out there. I think the only real question we have to answer for ourselves is, do not race the bottom and do not, over lever. Don't, how much risk are you willing to take? And I think that's the one thing we got to watch out for going into 2021. I think we're starting to see signs of, when at the beginning of 2020, things were very frothy and things were very exciting and very hot, and we're starting to see a resurgence to that kind of market conditions again. And my concern is that with that in mind, a lot of lenders are having to compete, and making sure that they stay competitive means they have to compete on rates or leverage, and that can be concerning to some degree because as we start taking more risk in the event of another, I guess we'll call black swan event like we had during COVID or even before that in 08. How much risk are you willing to put on your balance sheet is what you should really be thinking about, because at the end of the day, if there is another recession coming, and it's going to come eventually, we have to make sure we're ready for it. And so definitely be careful about the whole race to the bottom concerns there when it comes to excessive risk and not being compensated for that risk. But definitely, we're very optimistic for where things are going for the rest of the year. And as a law firm, I feel like we're kind of an indicator of market conditions, because if we're doing well, the market seems to be doing well. On the we're doing very well on the loan origination side. We're doing very well on our capital side, on my side of the business, and so I think things are very active. Going into 2022, though, one of the things that we're always watching very carefully is Fed rate, and that's going to be one big thing. But also, disruption in the marketplace, and disruption can come a number of different ways. One of the big concerns that a lot of our clients have expressed is disruption from the conventional space, and that is something to watch out for. As more and more of us jump into the DSCR type lending and a lot of the perm lending and stuff like that, there's going to be some concerns about the conventional lenders who have that much horsepower coming in and causing heartburn for us. And so making sure that we are staying competitive, and making sure that we really, really understand our clients and maintain those relationships. And it's going to definitely be something that is worth considering over the years. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of lenders out there that know they missed the boat when it comes to, for example, fix and flip and rehab. And so they're seeing this this massive, increase on the DSCR side, and they know they can compete there. And so keep that in mind, guys. Oh boy, look at this. We got some more stuff internally. Look at this. Oh, El Jefe himself, Anthony Gerasi of Gerasi fame, has asked me who's your favorite partner. I think I have to answer with Anthony Gerasi, don't I? And listen, we wouldn't be here without you, my friend, and we wouldn't be as cool without you as well. So, by the way, that photo is a little outdated. We need to get you a photo with the beard on there, standing next to your new plane. So. And for everyone out there, Anthony's flying now, so take that for what it is. Okay, so another question we have here is, what do you think about the state reopening, and how does that impact lending? The state reopening has actually been interesting from two sides. So California, as you all know, for our listeners out of state, the great People's Republic of California decided to lock us down. But interestingly enough, though, a lot of our clients didn't stop operations, because why? They didn't prohibit construction during the lockdown, right? So a lot of our clients were able to still get loans done. So I don't think that actually hurt us that much when it comes to loans proceeding and stuff like that. And a lot of my clients tell me they were doing just fine during the after the first 2 months during the kickoff of the pandemic. March, April was over. That kind of stung a little bit. They got into May. It was okay. And that's a good thing, right? Now that the state is fully reopened, for those of you who do not know, our governor lifted COVID restrictions on the 15th. And so I think that'll also be a good thing overall from a standpoint of recruiting. And so that's one thing that's important to think about. With the state lifting the lockdown restrictions, also a lot of the enhanced unemployment benefits were removed. And so that I feel like is going to help a lot of our clients who are looking for much more staff and kind of like entry-level jobs and administrative jobs be filled. And that's important, because a lot of times we find that the biggest pain point for our clients is not loan volume, it's not capital, but actually it's staffing. And so I think that now that we've removed a lot of the hurdles to hiring, namely the unemployment benefits, when it was, you're getting paid more to stay home than you were to work, that's been lifted. I think we're going to start seeing a better employment conditions. But definitely right now, it's very interesting to see conditions as a whole. I think, when it comes to the lending world and it comes to just loan origination, people were telling me things are back. Last year, probably, I would say as early as July or August, and so they were doing just fine. Handful of clients are still being very conservative, watching things, but I think right now we're back at it, and these conferences you see are kind of an indicator. We're all back out there. We're all shaking hands and hopefully giving each other hugs and high fives, and that's why I wanted to see you guys there at our event in Las Vegas, because it's going to be a good one. So, all right. I'm not sure if we're getting any more questions in. This is a good first attempt at our live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's wait for a few more questions here. Oh, there's another question here about Anthony's flying hobby. So for those of you who don't know, Anthony started to learn. We have a mutual friend through our involvement in the entrepreneur organization. He has a flight school, and so Anthony started taking flying lessons. How is that going to impact lending? Well, I think it's going to allow Anthony to be more mobile and get out to you guys wherever you are in the country, first of all. But it does slightly frighten me because, El Jefe behind the wheel of a small plane, got to make sure, he survives. We need him around, Anthony. So, but he swears he's good. So I trust him. I think it's a good thing. Every man needs a good hobby, and it's a really, really nice hobby to have. It's pretty cool. And also we kind of use him for freight. So we'll have him ship all of our stuff to the next conference. So Anthony, we're gonna pack that plane full of conference gear. Okay, interesting question about EB5. I haven't been asked a question about EB5 in forever. I used to do a lot of EB5 when it was very hot and heavy. EB5 is not really a thing anymore. It's kind of dead. But the visa program is still around. It hasn't been destroyed yet. It's been changed. I think right now EB5 was hot during the recession, and there's a reason for that, right? The cost of capital was through the roof. Interest rates were in the 8s and 9s and 10s. It was very expensive to borrow money. EB5 was a really, really great solution to borrow money at a very low rate, and also create opportunities for job creation and bring over people who were interested in investing in the United States. That's not the truth today, right? Fed rate's so low. It's really, cost of capital is low. And I think that's also causing some disruption. Frankly, on top of that, the EB5 program, it got more expensive, right? The minimum investment was $500,000. Now it's $800,000. And the visa waits, per country are, ridiculous. I think the wait list, if you're an investor from China, is like 20 years. So that's just not worth it anymore. But it's still valid. It's still there. And, we still talk to a handful of people about it, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon, but I definitely don't see as much activity as I used to. And I think if we were to face another time where rates were a little bit higher, you start seeing more activity and more marketing towards it, which would incentivize more investors to come over. What we do need is some reform on the EB5 side. We need to clear up those visa lines because investors don't want to get involved. They don't mind investing the investment amount, but they don't want to wait 10, 15, 20 years to get a green card. So that's going to be important. So it's on Congress to do that. I think there's some legislation on the Hill to do it, but I don't really trust the government to get that done quickly or efficiently. So we'll wait to see on that. For now, if you're an EB5 investor, be patient. If you're a sponsor who is a developer looking for a lower cost of capital, besides what's out there right now, EB5 is an incredibly robust option for that. It's just it's more time consuming and can be a little challenging, but it's definitely viable if you're interested. So. Oh, that's a good question for myself. Is this something you always wanted to do when you grew up? Yeah, you know what? It's kind of interesting. When I was a child, my mom wanted me to be a doctor because she is the daughter of a doctor. And so she was like, you got to be a doctor. And being Asian, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief kind of thing, right? But, I always gravitated toward writing and reading and also public speaking. I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of teaching jobs, part-time jobs when I was younger in junior high and high school. I taught martial arts for most of my youth. And then I really enjoyed the public speaking aspect of that. And so that kind of, pretty much geared me to go to law school. But the interesting part was, after college, I didn't really want to go to law school right away. And so what I did was I got a job at a bank. And that was really because of my dad's recommendation. My father was a banker for 30 years, 40 years actually. His father before him was a banker in Korea. And so, he really thought that, if you work at a bank, you should really start to learn about how the world works. And he was right. And so I went to work for a regional bank after college, and that was really useful. I understood how, I was a commercial loan officer for about a little more than 2 years. And that was really useful in understanding how the world works, understanding how banking works, understanding how debt works, understanding how you deposit money at the bank and how CDs work, and that all these different things. You don't learn that in college. You don't learn that in high school. So it was really instructive for me, but also it was really informative for me understanding when I go to law school, what do I want to do, right? And so, like any other, young law student, when you first go to law school, you kind of have this thought about, lawyers equals litigation, and that was kind of for the first month, maybe two, and literally, like, 2 months into property, it kind of clicked for me, and I understood contracts and property better than I understood torts and evidence, right? And so that was, and it kind of geared me in the direction I wanted to go right away. And so I knew I was going to be in some form of corporate transactional finance related things. I didn't know that I would be doing live streams on Facebook and LinkedIn to promote that. But you know what? That's the world we live in. It didn't exist back then. So that's definitely something that I did not foresee about the marketing stuff. But it's kind of the ideal kind of career for me, if you think about it, because I love practicing law in the context of advising our clients and being there for them and providing them solutions and also taking care of them, right? But I also really enjoy public speaking, and this kind of allows me to do both. Oh, hey, we got a great question from our good friend Rocky Butani over at Private Lender Link. Thank you very much, Rocky. Are fund managers still launching NPL distressed debt funds? Good question. So when COVID popped off last year, everyone was speculating about NPL funds, formation, and opportunities abound. What we discovered was that the loans that were either distressed or or at least delinquent were not trading at the discounts that the NPL investors want to see. And so that is the kind of biggest hurdle right now. And I think it has to do primarily with the increasing value in real estate and how frothy it is in the residential market, but definitely not as active as I thought it'd be. And we've done a few over the years and kind of unique type of opportunities, but not as robust as I thought it would be. If you talked to me last March when COVID was popping up, I was definitely get ready for it. Start preparing. Get some dry powder ready. Start raising some money for this. And some clients did, and they're doing okay, but it's not as robust as we thought it'd be. I think the reasoning for it is that, even if these loans are in distress or in default, there's typically a rescue loan or a refi or something that can happen to get them out of it because there's so much activity in the marketplace. I think we'll see it though. I think it's going to come. It always comes eventually, and there are going to be additional opportunities outside of our sector and more of the conventional sector. And that's also another issue is that, when the Fed is buying up a bunch of this stuff, it kind of prevents the opportunity. And so that's also part of it, right? And so once that loosens up and you start seeing the Fed no longer basically bolstering the conventional residential market, the Fannie Freddie type agency market, I think that's also going to start allowing things to essentially follow their natural path, if you will, right? And that natural path includes NPL investors, RPL investors, and distressed loan investors to come in and buy up these loans and allow them to process them, whether they reperform them or foreclose on them is their prerogative. But I think that's going to be also operative to kind of trigger that. For as long as if the Fed has continued to backstop this, there's no reason why they're going to trade at the prices that we want them to trade at, right? And anecdotally speaking, I had a lot of discussions with some NPL buyer clients of mine. They tell me that it's starting to get a little better. The discounts are getting better. The discounts they want to see at least, right? But even they're having to compete, and they're buying at par or just below par when they should be, in the optimum kind of scenario for an NPL distressed fund, you should be buying probably at 90, 85, and is kind of where I like to see you. So until the pricing gets there, it's just not going to be as robust as you want it to be. All right. I think that's all we have for today. This is our very first live stream. So I know there's some kinks in getting on and stuff like that, some trouble there, but we're going to come back to you for more of this stuff. We're going to work out the kinks and do it again soon. Once again, we're on all platforms. We're definitely going to be on LinkedIn for sure. And we're also on YouTube. and we're also on Facebook. But also, don't forget, we're also on Instagram. So once again, please like, subscribe, and comment, and leave us a 5-star review if you are listening to us on any other platform. And we hope to see you soon at our upcoming conference in August in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, so you can network with the industry and also meet some investors. So that's all I have for today, and hopefully we'll see you in Las Vegas and definitely on the next episode of Lender Lounge. Thank you very much.